As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. Let me just introduce one last mobile story, guys. I know we're doing a lot of mobile, but this is, this is where the world's going, evidently. So one last mobile story here. And this is mobile gaming accounts for 50% of user acquisition spending. So if you look at the global spending around user acquisition on mobile, in other words, people paying to get others to download their app, games are 50% of that ad spend. Anyone surprised at this stat?
No, not really. I mean, I think it would be nice to also have the corresponding what percentage of mobile app revenue is games. I think it's probably pretty similar. So I'm not sure how much this tells us.
Just to put things in perspective, second place vertical, e-commerce, just 16% of all mobile ad spend.
But again, I think if you're equating it to if mobile,
I'm not equating this to, this is not revenue. This is how much are the companies in these verticals spending to acquire customers.
Right, but I think you have. I guess my point is, I think the data is not. It's an interesting stat, and we can debate. But without that, you're kind of comparing apples to oranges, right? Because if 50% of revenue is games and 50% of ad spend, then the mobile gaming companies are spending pretty in line with.
I see what you're saying. What I do have here is there's interesting country differences, or at least region differences, and that is. If you look in North America, that number is actually not 50%, it's 57%. And the number 2 category is not e-com, it's fintech. Believe it or not. So fintech companies in the US spend, next to games, second most amount on user acquisition for mobile.
I wonder if that includes crypto. And that would skew that.
Yeah.
Like crypto exchanges.
What's interesting to me is this means you take away gaming, most of the mobile ads industry, most of that ad industry just literally goes away, right? Gaming, you could assume, is the predominant force in mobile today, if you believe that this is where most of the ad spend's going.
Does this mean Facebook is basically propped up by, or at least a significant portion of Facebook's products are propped up by the gaming industry? Am I making that inference correctly? I'm genuinely asking. I'm not sure.
This article has some interesting. Let me tie this, and maybe this answers your question. So, gaming makes up a quarter of all iOS downloads, 21% of all Android downloads. Okay, if you look at install costs across those networks, like Android, iOS, Apple leads with $3.86. An install from Facebook costs $1.02, while Google Ads comes in at 91 cents. I don't know if that tells you anything. A lot of this is being driven by hyper casual gamers, and the way they came up with this data is they just looked at 6 billion paid installs and figured out what was driving what kind of mobile ad spend was driving all this. So I thought it was.
I would say it's interesting that those CPMs don't sort of come converge to one sort of number. I guess that probably means that they're getting better users from Facebook, right? They're willing to spend more for each user because there's better targeting,
and the best from Apple, right. Obviously,
which makes sense. Apple ID, they have all the data.
Yeah, you're integrated, right? It makes it. You have Apple Pay. You have 2 buttons, and you're paying dollars for whatever the heck you want.
Right, people are paying $3.86 for an install on an Apple device. That feels like a lot.
Well, though the Apple users tend to monetize better, so that's people are willing to pay more to get the Apple users.